who were being held there without trial. They kept them in the H blocks in the north, which was a prison, and they wanted equal status, these prisoners, with the loyalist prisoners that they were keeping there. But they wanted to wear their own clothes and not prison, because they didn't see themselves as being convicted of anything. So they went on hunger strike. The Prime Minister of Britain at the time, the British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, what she did was she allowed them to starve to death. So then what happened is we had martyrs. And once people saw this happening, then the ranks of fire swelled. So to have them was, you had a very large guerrilla army, and inside in the Maze prison you had what we would call a think tank. Prisoners who were there with nothing else to do, and I actually know a couple of them personally, with nothing else to do but sit down and think of ways of getting at the British to try and get them out of our country. So what they decided to do was to bring the war to Britain. So we had remember the Brighton bombing, which they almost got Maggie Thatcher. The bomb had been planted 3 months previous in Brighton, in England, because you had the Tory conference, Thatcher as the as minister, and they just barely missed her. They almost killed her, and I'm still disappointed to this day that this happened. But then they went to they blew up buildings in Manchester. They blew up financial centres and so on. So what they actually did was, they did something that the British didn't think was possible. They bombed themselves to the table to sit down and talk. So the British had no option at that point but to sit down and talk to the IRA. And then all this, when the Tories then were defeated by the Labour Party, the Labour Party then wouldn't have been as strongly opinionated as the Tories were. So then we got the peace agreement in the north. But what happened there was the leader of them of Sinn Féin IRA, two leaders, which would be Martin McGuinness and Jerry Adams, they came to an agreement with the British up in the north, right?
Okay, hold on a minute. We got something going on here, and I'm not sure what here. Let me find out. Okay, let's try that again. We lost Crusade Radio there for a moment.
Okay.
All right. Well, we lost it. Okay, no problem. We're still on. Everything else.
Okay. So anyway, there was a peace agreement in the north then, right, where the IRA then stopped. And the problem, well, the reasons were, you see, is that whilst we couldn't here, the IRA could not beat the British Army. The British Army could not beat the IRA. So it was a stalemate, because you can't kill someone that you can't see. And the British Army had to go around wearing their uniforms, so they were targets. So although there was a peace agreement made, the British are still in the north of Ireland. They're still controlling those 6 counties. So what it did mean was the likes of Sinn Féin were allowed then to put themselves up for election in the British Parliament. And Gerry Adams, who would be the Sinn Féin leader, Gerry Adams then became what they call an MP, a Member of Parliament. But he's never taken a seat in the British Parliament. For the simple reason is if you take your seat in the British Parliament, in the House of Commons, you've got to swear allegiance to the Queen. And he refused to do that. So he's never taken a seat there. And only lately, there about a week ago, there were called by-elections up in Donegal, and Spain won the seat. They took a seat from Fianna Fáil, which is the government now. So now, at this point, we have a county called here, and Gerry Adams will run for that Leave seat to become a member of the Irish Parliament, the Dáil, right? But what's happening now in the meantime is what we have now is the real IRA, and the real IRA are the ones of the opinion the 6 counties up the north are ours, and I'm of the same opinion. So now it'll take time, but now the real IRA are back doing the same thing that the IRA started. And before that, you had the official IRA. So this is the third leg of it. So the point is that they won't actually stop killing the British, bombing or trying to bomb Britain or whatever it is, until they actually fuck off. And that's what's going on now. But there isn't anything down there. There's been no fighting. We haven't had British soldiers on our streets here in the south. It's 1916. So when I say that we're still being occupied by the British, like I said, if the British are sitting on an inch of my soil, that's occupation.
Now, what about this whole European Union thing? It's starting to, we're getting a buzz here on the internet that it's falling apart, that that the countries are wanting to get out of it. Now the 9th plank on the Communist Manifesto is regionalization, you know. So
yeah.
What's going on with that? What's you know, is your money now the euro? Is it controlled by the same international banksters, the Bank of England?
Oh yeah,
Federal Reserve.
Most certainly, yeah. It's the same. I mean, we were in trouble here. Greece were in a lot of trouble before us, right? Now it's us, right? Next it'll be Portugal. Then it'll be Spain. And it's all, and it's going exactly the way the Rockefellers and the likes of those wanted to go. They just pumped the money in, let the country spend the money. It's like, what do they call it? They actually called Ireland the Wild West of Europe as regards spending money and financial. Just there was just so much money around. Everyone went crazy. Now it's payback time. And that's what they did. They ploughed the money in here, waited for the disaster, and now they're reaping the benefits of it. You know.
Are the countries coming out of the euro? Are they trying to withdraw from that, or is the whole euro thing really locked in? You know, they got the money, they got control of the money, so they're issuing the money for all of the countries under the euro, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, the euro, the note itself, say our €5 note, or our €10, or 20, 50, or whatever it is. The only difference between the euro and the dollar is that there's something different on it, that's all. There really no, it's still paper, you know. And that's all they've ever been dealing with is paper. And that's the whole problem here. You see, how would I put it? I was explaining something, I don't know, maybe some of your listeners understand the actual barter system. And I've been speaking to a couple of my friends about this, and the only way, in my opinion, that you wipe out the likes of